Saint Augustine commentary on the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 31 to 36, following. With efficacious merit does he deliver from this bondage of sin, who says in the Psalms, I am become as a man without help, free among the dead. Psalm 88, verse 4 and 5. For he only was free because he had no sin. For he himself says in the Gospel, Behold, the prince of this world comes, meaning the devil about to come in the persons of the persecuting Jews. Behold, he says, he comes and shall find nothing in me. Chapter 14, verse 30 and 31. Not as he found some measure of sin in those whom he also slew as righteous. In me he shall find nothing. And just as if he were asked, If he shall find nothing in you, wherefore will he slay you? He further said, But that all may know that I do the will of my Father, rise and let us go hence. I do not, he says, pay the penalty of death as a necessity of my sinfulness. But in the death I die, I do the will of my Father. And in this I am doing rather than enduring it, for were I unwilling, I should not have had the suffering to endure. You have him saying in another place, I have power to lay down my life, and I have power to take it up again. Chapter 10, verse 18. Here surely is one free among the dead. Since then every one that commits sin is the servant of sin, listen to what is our hope of liberty. And the servant, he says, abides not in the house forever. The church is the house, the servant is the sinner. Many sinners enter the church. Accordingly, he has not said, the servant is not in the house, but abides not in the house forever. If then there shall be no servant there, who will be there? For when, as the Scripture speaks, the righteous king sits on the throne, who will boast of having a clean heart? Who will boast that he is pure from his sin? Proverbs chapter 20, verse 8 and 9. He has greatly alarmed us, my brethren, by saying, The servant abides not in the house forever. But he further adds, But the Son abides ever. Will Christ then be alone in his house? Will no people remain at his side? Whose head will he be if there shall be no body? Or is the Son all this, both the head and the body? For it is not without cause that he has inspired both terror and hope. Terror, in order that we should not love sin, and hope that we should not be distrustful of the remission of sin. Everyone, he says, that commits sin is the servant of sin, and the servant abides not in the house forever. What hope then have we, who are not without sin? Listen to your hope. The Son abides forever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, then shall you be free indeed. Our hope is this, brethren, to be made free by the Free One, and that in setting us free, he may make us his servants. For we were the servants of lust, but being set free, we are made the servants of love. This also the Apostle says, For brethren, you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. Galatians chapter 5 verse 13. Let not then the Christian say, I am free, I have been called unto liberty. I was a slave, but have been redeemed, and by my very redemption have been made free. I shall do what I please. No one may balk me of my will, if I am free. But if you commit sin with such a will, you are the servant of sin. Do not then abuse your liberty for freedom in sinning, but use it for the purpose of sinning not. For only if your will is pious will it be free. You will be free if you are a servant still, free from sin, the servant of righteousness, as the Apostle says, when you were the servants of sin, you were free from righteousness. But now, being made free from sin and become servants to God, you have your fruit unto holiness, and the end everlasting life. Romans chapter 6 verse 20 and 22. Let us be striving after the latter and be doing the other. The first stage of liberty is to be free from crimes. Give heed, my brethren, give heed that I may not by any means mislead your understanding as to the nature of that liberty at present, and what it will be. Sift anyone soever of the highest integrity in this life, and however worthy he may already be of the name of upright, yet is he not without sin. Listen to St. John himself, the author of the Gospel before us, when he says in his epistle, if we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. 1 John chapter 1 verse 8. He alone could say this who was free among the dead. Of him only could it be said who knew no sin. It could be said only of him, for he also was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 15. He alone could say, behold, the prince of this world comes, and shall find nothing in me. Sift anyone else who is accounted righteous, yet is he not in all respects without sin. Not even such as was Job, to whom the Lord bore such testimony, that the devil was filled with envy and demanded that he should be tempted, and was himself defeated in the temptation, to the end that Job might be proved. Job chapter 1 verse 2. And he was proved for this reason, not that the certainty of his carrying off the conqueror's with was unknown to God, but that he might become known as an object of imitation to others. And what says Job himself? For who is clean? Not even the infant whose life is but a day's span upon the earth. Job chapter 14 verse 5 in the Septuagint. But it is plain that many are called righteous without opposition, because the term is understood as meaning free from crime, for in human affairs there is no just ground of complaint attaching to those who are free from criminal conduct. But crime is grievous sin, deserving in the highest measure to be denounced and condemned. Not, however, that God condemns certain sins and justifies and praises certain others. He approves of none. He hates them all. As the physician dislikes the ailment of the ailing and works by his healing measures to get the ailment removed and the ailing relieved, so God by his grace works in us that sin may be consumed and man made free. But when you will be saying, is it consumed? If it is lessened, why is it not consumed? That is going less in the life of those who are advancing onwards, which is consumed in the life of those who have attained to perfection.